the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Friends, family, community, people watching out for each other, people watching out for customers, looking out for the best in everyone. And it's not hard to find the best in everyone when everybody's doing it. Employees, their value and what they mean to us here at Barber Ford, the fact that they would invest that much of their life and their time in Barber Ford just goes to show how much they're engaged in not only what we do, but why we do it. Our core values, our community impact, our community involvement.
In 2016, we were contacted by Barber Ford to find out how they could better support members in our community through the American Cancer Society and through a one-of-a-kind give back program. We have been honored to receive the largest gift that anyone has ever donated to the American Cancer Society from Barber Ford.
Kids Food Basket is a community-based organization that is committed to attacking childhood hunger. We are so grateful for the support of Barber Ford in helping us to attack childhood hunger. They have been an amazing partner, helping by providing food donations, financial donations, and importantly also time. Barber Ford employees come and spend time to help us prepare the meals that we give these children for the nourishment that they need.
Giving back to different organizations throughout the community, it's something where it means a lot to us when we see employees that we work with every day go to the next level as far as their giving back. It's not just about the dealership, but it's about the employees giving back as well. We like, as a dealership, that's one of our core values as far as responsible financial success and giving back, but we can't do that unless the employees have bought into that 100%. And when they see that they're giving back, it's a great feeling. Everybody comes back and it's all different departments and it's everybody doing it together, so they have fun, but they're leaving an impact somewhere, and that's really neat to see.
USA International Speedway, 14-degree banked oval here in Lakeland, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, 0.75 miles. That's the distance around this place. Bad fast for the DRS Truck Series here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome race fans to PTR TV. I'm Brandon Krutz here with our fairly new to PTR TV, Marshall Crocker. And Marshall, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Excited for another short track race, and I'm looking for some good racing tonight.
Yeah, you know, this place, it qualifies as a short track, but compared to what we just came from the last couple of weeks is, especially last week from Five Flags, is quite big. 3/4 mile racetrack, and these guys going to be carrying some serious speed around this place.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the biggest acceleration tracks I think I've ever seen that I've raced personally, because it's such a difference in terms of, the cornering speed to the straightaway speed, and it's almost two different worlds out there. So passing is different than a lot of other tracks, and it's, as you just mentioned, it's different than any short track we've run this series. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the guys do tonight.
For sure it will be. These guys are running their qualifying laps right now. So far, Doug Lemons is the first one to turn a lap, 20.415. Tyler Justice out on track right now, trying to run his laps, as well as a couple others. Running this place, it can be kind of tough, and for some of these guys, it can even be kind of loose here on corner entry, trying to hit that apex, trying to get down to the very bottom of this racetrack. I'd expect the bottom to be fairly dominant throughout, but I would expect this second line to come in at least a little bit to get things a little bit racy towards the end of this thing. 175 laps is the distance here today, and straight green, no green-white checkers in this series yet, so these guys gonna roll with it and hoping for some clean and green racing action here tonight.
Yeah, but judging by the last race we saw at Five Flags this season, clean racing isn't exactly what we've been seeing so far, so we'll see if tonight it'll be a little bit different now that everybody's got a few short track races under their belts, but it's a whole new world out here compared to Five Flags, so we'll see how guys race compared to last week.
Yeah, for sure. Whole different world. These guys have quite the bit of room to play with here tonight. Like I said earlier, they call it a short track, but there's really nothing small about it compared to some of these half miles and even the quarter mile tracks here on the surface.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd compare it a lot to Martinsville, but I think the difference, that may just be in terms of the shape of the oval, but I think it's a completely different world in terms of the track spacing. Like, it's a little bit wider than Martinsville. It's definitely got a higher acceleration, so you have more room on the straightaway to get down into the next corner, and for that reason there's more passing opportunities than you'd see on a lot of different short tracks. So it feels like it's just passing opportunity corner after passing opportunity corner, and I think that'll play a big part tonight. Passing may be a little bit simpler than we see at a lot of other tracks.
Absolutely agree, and this track has a lot of history behind it. It's got 14 degrees of banking, old slick asphalt on it, which is what these guys are going to be struggling with today, and it should be interesting. Weather is not too bad, 79 degrees, partly cloudy. Track temperature is around 107, so these guys won't be fighting it too hard, but they're still going to have to play with the throttle a little bit, and they're going to have to watch their entries into these corners also. Under braking is when the back ends of these trucks are really going to want to kick out on them.
Yeah, I think under entry and even occasionally on exit too, if you put too much power coming back onto the straightaway, especially depending on your line, I think an outside line trying to cut away from the wall with too much gas is the perfect recipe for a spin into the inside wall. So constantly in the corner, you'll have to be watching your throttle, watching your speed coming in, watching your speed coming out, and at the end of the day, just staying on track, which is easier said than done here at USA International.
For sure. Just a quick look at the point standings. Also, something we want to take a look at really quick. Right now at the top of the list, Glovebox Racing. That's Brandon Holder up there at the top. Ravi Adi with TI Racing down right below him. Just 4 points back, 6 points back. From that is going to be Phase 2 Motorsports with Tyler Justice. Of course, the top 10 points being shown on your screen right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about showtime here at the USA International Speedway as we look through your starting lineup. Looks like Alex McCollum, he led all of practice, is going to be on pole to start this race. 20.135 up at the top of the board. Jimmy Mullis going to be below him, starting in second. Starting third is going to be Jake Matheson. Starting fourth is going to be Devin Morgan. Fifth is Blake Neer. Sixth is going to be James, I apologize if I mispronounce his last name, James McBockler, going to be starting in that sixth position. Seventh is going to be Brandon Holder, and Charles Lahr are going to be starting eighth. Marshall?
Row 5 is made up entirely of the race winners this season, with Tyler Justice sitting on the inside in 9th, Robbie Oddie in 10th, Mark Love in 11th, Doug Lemons in 12th, Adam Jocelyn in 13th, Brian Campbell in 14th, Harry Snelson in 15th, and the first of the sliders, Dustin Slider, in 16th.
Starting in 17th is going to be Ryan Blankard. Grant Brown starting 18th. 19th, Tyler King. Starting in 20th is John Houston. Jack Stout starting in 21st rather. Rob Slater starting in 22nd. And Frank Morales starting in 23rd, rounding out the field. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your starting grid presented by iRacing. iRacing is the #1 trusted sim by every sanction out there, from IndyCar, NASCAR, World of Outlaws, Dirt Car, and much more. iRacing, the original esports racing game. Get a little keys to the race here, presented by Fame Motorsports. First thing is, keep the bumpers on. You really want to set yourself up for a good finish. In order to do that, you got to keep the truck in one piece. Don't be too aggressive at the start. Moving from that is get into a rhythm. Once you get yourself set, you really want to keep moving in the same direction. Just get yourself into a nice smooth rhythm, find your line, and go with it. Also, watch the dive bomb. Here, there's a lot of room for people to dive down underneath you. You gotta be watching your mirrors if someone's close behind you, because that's one thing you could expect to happen here.
Yeah, you're never not paying attention here, and corner after corner, you got to watch those dive bombs and get a rhythm going in those corners.
So these guys stack up, double up, and get ready for the green flag next time behind the iRacing official pace car Ford Mustang, and looks like everybody about ready to go here. So again, Alex McCollum on the front row. Jimmy Mullis going to be starting on the outside next to him in that 96.
Yeah, this is a bit of a unfamiliar starting too. I don't think Jimmy Mullis, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe he has started a race in the front row yet, and Alex McCollum has not. So we'll see what these guys can do on the first restart of the race, or I guess first start of the race.
iRacing pace car getting ready to make its way into pit road, this time by the 10 machine. Alex McCollum getting ready to get these guys going. Ladies and gentlemen, the stars and cars at DRS. Let's go, we're green.
Great even start there from both lines. Alex McCollum and Jimmy Mullis both got the jump on that start, and somebody's around. I believe that's Devin Morgan in the 12. Oh my goodness.
Caution flag out on the speedway already. Devin Morgan back there in the 12 machine going for a ride as they stack up behind him. Looks like the initial contact was off the 64 machine, or the 61 machine rather, and downhill from there. Everybody still stacked up off that initial start, and it was a parking lot down the middle of the back straightaway.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty clear coming in there, but it looked like Devin Morgan was on the outside of what tried to become a 3 wide. I can't quite tell who that was behind him, but yeah, it looked like not enough real estate for 3 cars to take that corner together.
Yeah, not quite, and these guys will send it around on lap 1. Again, became kind of a parking lot back there. Devin Morgan not happy with somebody going up and giving the 14 a bit of a nudge here under the caution. Don't like that.
Yeah, it looked like he might have been the one that tried to come in the middle there. Maybe he was on the bottom. Yeah, he was on the bottom of that. I don't think he was the one that caused it. I think Morgan's frustration is ill-placed.
Yeah, Devin Morgan and Blake Neer getting into a bit of a scuffle here under the yellow flag. Race officials will try to settle that out between those two drivers, but again, nobody coming in for pit stops, and I didn't expect them to, but we have a new leader up front after all that happened. It's Jimmy Mullis up there in the 96. He'll be the one restarting this race as your leader.
Yeah, and Mullis with a great start that time by. He got a huge jump on the outside line there in McCollum. They were dead even coming into the corner, and he was just able to force McCollum down so that when that caution came out on the backstretch, he was just a little bit ahead, and now he'll be taking the restart in first place.
Boy, Marshall, I gotta tell you, we have the new Silverados here on iRacing finally, and I really love the look of those bad guys.
I do too. They just have like a new kind of decal to them. I don't know if I think they adjusted the front of the truck. I think it looks a little bit maybe sleeker. It has a bit of a newer vibe that they put some shine on it, and these paint jobs the guys are running make them look great because these trucks are looking pretty tonight.
Absolutely, they are, and you know, running in the daytime here at USA, we shouldn't expect the lights to come on at all here. So these guys going to be dealing with some fairly slick conditions out here, as I was talking about before, especially once these tires wear down. It's going to be that right rear that these guys are really going to have to pay attention to tonight.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a huge talking point, is how much your tires going to matter with how slick the track is. How much are you going to be able to adjust to your conditions before it's going to get unbearable and you're going to have to make a change. So adapting to the changing conditions and trying to run without hitting that outside wall is going to be a huge thing to watch these guys do tonight.
So, looks like lights are out up on top of the iRacing official pace car. These guys will get stacked up, doubled up, ready to go back green flag racing once again. Again, Jimmy Mullis going to be leading these guys back to the green flag. It's going to be Alex McCullum on the outside of him. Jake Matheson restarting in third, fourth Charles Law. Robbie Oddie up there in the 44 in that fifth position. So these guys coming around to take the green. Marshall, take them away.
Yes, sir, and we have 8 cars less than the last time by already. First restart, and there goes the iRacing official pace car. Jimmy Mullis already on the gas very early in corner 1, green flag.
Green flag is out, heading down at corner number 1. Jimmy Mullis got a great restart that time by, already able to clear McCullum down at corner number 1. Top 3 kind of spread out. Robbie Oddie has company from behind him. Look out! Oh, into the pit road divider. Charles Lahr looks like in that 4 machine. I told you pre-race, Marshall, under braking is going to be kind of sketchy, and that's exactly what happened to him. He hit the brakes trying to turn in, and the back end snapped around on him. That's going to end his night already, but we stay green.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't make enough contact that it was worth it. He didn't get in the way of any cars, but yeah, that didn't look provoked either. So you were right before the race, Brandon. Like, that's going to be a big thing to watch tonight because it's only lap 8, and on new tires, we're already seeing guys start sliding.
Boy, Robbie Oddie, I'm watching him wheel this thing around here into the 44 machine, already up to 3rd. He passed Alex McCullum, your pole sitter, who's back to 4th already, and now he's got his eyes set on Jake Matheson up there in 2nd. And these guys kind of ride in a little bit of a train out there. Jimmy Mullis already starting to pull away from these guys, but I'd watch out for that 44 car here tonight.
Yeah, he's already shown crazy speed. He's moved up 7 positions, and I don't think that was anything to do, I would say, because of the crash. I don't think he was too far back that it would have done much for him. So this is a great start so far for him. And the thing I'll talk about with how far ahead Jimmy Mullis is at the moment is how much the draft is going to play in and how much aerodynamics are going to play in at this track. Because while the straightaways are long compared to other tracks of its length, they're not long enough that I think you could really make up a ton of ground on each straightaway. So the corners are going to be where guys make or break their race here, and Jimmy Mullis seems to have them figured out early.
Absolutely, he does, and kind of trying to search around track for any battles going on. It looks like A little bit of action back there by the 23 of Ryan Campbell. He's kind of got Tyler King right on his rear bumper trying to search these guys. One thing I'm starting to notice already is these guys kind of starting to work their way up a half a lane at a time up into that second groove that I don't think we'll see it right away, but I think we're really going to see that second groove start to develop, at least on corner entry, for these guys to diamond into the corner a little bit later in the race.
Yeah, I think it'll have to. I don't see this current line they're running being sustainable for any long period of time, at least not without putting your back end on the wall or taking risks in general. But yeah, that'll definitely be a thing that these guys will have to watch out for, is being able to switch their line when it's the right time on tires.
Battle for third up here right now. Robbiati's got company from behind him. As that 44 machine, I was just talking about how bad fast he looks. Well, the 10, Alex McCullum, he's got something to say about that. It's right on his back bumper is that 10 machine to the 44.
Yeah, McCullum had a quick time in both practice and qualifying, so he's got the short track speed. Let's see if he can make it work here on Robbiati. Robbiati, who's been incredible on these tracks so far this season, back-to-back winner in races 2 and 3, so he's no easy challenge for McCullum, but let's see if he can do it.
Right on his back bumper. One thing about short track racing in this close is you really got to be careful. You don't want to make any really aggressive moves too early in this race. A lot of these guys have the mindset that they want to be up front and they want to try to race their way up front, which is totally understandable, but don't jeopardize your own machine. That's one of the keys to the race, is keep the nose on the truck. You don't want to jeopardize your own race just to try to get up front quick.
Yeah, and that's a big thing we'll see tonight is risks, and the risk of hitting any given wall or having any given incident are big anywhere, as we saw before with I believe it was Charles Loire, who just had his own crash unprovoked. So even Jimmy Mullis sitting there with a comfy lead in first, he could be at risk of spinning it at any given point. So you might just get positions by default. So don't try to make too many big moves that could jeopardize your race. Wait for somebody else to do the exact same thing.
Absolutely correct. Now, these guys do have the option to adjust their brake bias in the truck between more front brake and more rear brake if they do feel themselves getting a little bit looser on entry of the corner while the tires start to wear down. I do think that right rear is going to become an issue, as I already see a lot of these guys starting to get really loose on exit of the corner. That's going to become a factor on entry here really soon also.
Yeah, I think people can start to tell pretty quickly when they're starting to drift to that outside wall, because every race every lap you're constantly thinking about it, getting more and more nervous. So if anything, guys will probably do it too early, and maybe it'll be the guys that run that quick line and take the risk of that outside wall the longest that'll start to make progress and move to the front.
Heads up, Robbiati. Those guys almost went side by side, just as I was talking about. He got loose on corner entry under braking and almost allowed that 10 machine to slip underneath him. He able to hold on to that second groove off the corner, but something that these guys really have to watch out for is it almost happened again. I saw that nose dip down low and he was able to keep it steady and collect it up once again.
One thing they got to watch out for if they're doing what Robbiati's doing and taking that big slide into the corner to try to get that inside line to just keep working. But if you let that back corner panel, and right as we see, McCullum's going to pull out a line here, might make the pass clean. Nothing Audi can do, it looks like. Going to slide back in behind, but if you leave that rear quarter panel open, that's an easy target to send you straight around. And a track this thin, that's going to have big consequences if you do happen to spin.
Absolutely. We've already seen a couple of guys make contact with that outside wall. Under that first yellow, we saw one guy's back end kick around. If you're not able to spin it to the inside, which is obviously not something that's easy to do under corner entry, then you're going to be in serious trouble with a lot of damage to the rear end of that race truck. So, a little bit of contact back there with the 5 of Brandon Holder, or with the 12 rather, of Devin Morgan. Devin Morgan trying to make his way back up through the field after that lap 1 incident. couple of damaged race trucks back here. Right now, he's in the 18th position, trying to pass his way up, but of course, being a lap down is going to be tough for him. Brandon Holder sitting there in that 5, just in the top 10. I'm going to assume Devin Morgan has fresh tires on that.
Yeah, Brandon Holder, our points leader, he's moved down a little bit since the start. I'm not sure if that's related to the incident from the beginning, but he's had plenty of guys who didn't do great in qualifying move past him. So our points leader may need to pick up the pace and pass some of the guys that passed him if he wants to keep his championship lead.
Yeah, for sure. Glovebox Racing up at the top of the point standings right now with that 5 machine prevailing for the team. But yeah, something that's he's got to do today is be consistent. So far, he's got a clean race truck. As long as he can be consistent, there's only a 4-point gap right now between him and second place. So it's going to be tough, but keeping that nose clean is going to be the biggest part.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy behind him obviously is Robbie Audi, who's been incredible as of late. So he's definitely got some competition there. But you're right though, Brandon. Just finishing solidly here at a track this dangerous so often and with so many incidents so frequently, just to finish the race here, even in the top 10 where he is definitely a big victory.
Yeah, so as we talk about him, he's kind of in a lap car sandwich right now, trying to make his way up through the field. Look out! 61 about took his nose off there.
Yeah,
trying to get around him.
It'll be tough for these lap cars to try to move out of the way because it's such a thin track, and it looks like Brandon Holder might go to the top there. Maybe he's just trying the over-under, and it might work here. Great line there for Brandon Holder.
Trying to get around him. Hell, look out. Contact with lap car once again. I'd say this is pretty good racing, but Brandon Holder's probably not having it right now. Trying to fight a lap car. Now up into the wall goes the 61 machine. Holder is able to get by.
Yeah,
Can't imagine he was too thrilled with that move.
No, the 61 looks like he's having trouble keeping his line, period. So much damage on the car as we can see visually. So I think it was pretty tough for him to keep it on the track, let alone let Holder by. But Holder gets a big slide there, but he's got some progress to make up if he wants to catch Tyler King, the next guy ahead of him, about 2 seconds ahead.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Looks like maybe a battle about to go down for position up here now, or Rob Slater, excuse me, I believe he is 1 lap down. He is the first car a lap down, trying to make his way up through the field again after that lap 1 incident. That 13, not too much damage, so if he can get a yellow, he may be in pretty good condition to get back on the lead lap.
And talking about Rob Slater, he had a ton of practice looking at his laps before the race, and he just passed a few guys with no damage running on the lead lap, so he's quick even though he's a lap down.
Marshall, tell us a little bit about these lap times that these guys are running to between the leaders.
Yes, I can. It looks like pretty interesting split here. Jimmy Mullis, despite being our leader with a pretty sizable gap, about 1.25 seconds ahead of second place, he was by no means the fastest guy on that lap. Alex McCullum, I believe, ran the fastest lap around. Robbie Audi right behind him. So those two chasing him down and running quicker laps at this point. I'm not sure if Mullis is in traffic, but that's definitely something to look out for with that gap to make up.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, Alex McCullum seems to have a really good long run truck. Not so much on the short runs, but for the longer runs, he's been hunting down that 96 machine up front pretty quick and slowly but surely gaining ground on him.
Yeah, and if this race stays clean, that'll definitely be the side that's going to be more helpful, is those runs that once those tires get bad, once you run that top line, it's going to be important to be able to keep it on the track and still make up time. And he ran 2 full tenths quicker on that last lap, so he is catching up to Jimmy Mullis in first.
Absolutely, he is. Jimmy Mullis trying to battle 1 lap car at a time here, so not too heavy a traffic for him, but even still, Alex McCullum is loving what he's seeing in his windshield right now. Jimmy trying to make his way through lap traffic, kind of not catching them in great spots, so it is helping him little by little.
Jimmy finally got some smooth sailing ahead of him. Doesn't look like too many cars until Tyler Justice in the 7, but now if we look for second, Alex McCullum's got a buffer in front of him. Never mind, the 43 of Mark Love does dive straight to the top to let him by.
Yeah, so that helps out McCullum quite a bit. The gap is starting to close on those two drivers. Pretty clean racing since that lap 1 incident, I'd say, Marshall. These guys kind of taking it easy for the first part of this race.
Yeah, and I think everybody's starting to spread out a little bit, so they don't have much of a choice to make contact with each other. I think the only way we'll see too much conflict and caution is if guys start spinning themselves, which, as we talked about before, could be a big issue tonight.
A little bit of a battle for 7th here. Perry Snelson trying to defend that 7th position. That's Ryan Campbell right behind him. Ryan was right underneath the rear end of that truck. Kind of lost a little bit of ground that time by. These guys are trying to battle it out on old tires, which is, I guess, kind of sketchy as it is, as they slip and slide all over the place. But I gotta say, it looks like pretty fun racing out there.
Oh, it does. This is the kind of stuff I love, is just the uncertainty, and you're not running the same line every single lap. It's different every time you take a corner, and Ryan Campbell diving to the bottom here, but Glovebox Racing, our championship leaders, they're having just an okay night in terms of the drivers who haven't been in an incident and are still on the lead lap, so they may want to move up if they don't want some of the other teams, namely something like TI Racing, to move up in those standings.
Absolutely. DRS Express, Glovebox Racing going at it right now. Caution flag on the Speedway.
Yeah, gonna have to find where that is.
Looks like maybe the 70. Yeah, the 61 machine was the first one to go around off the nose of the 70. Corner entry, man, oh man. Not sure what that was about on a corner entry there. If this guy's just misjudged or what, but the 70 dove it right on in there, got into the back of the 61, and up they went to the outside wall. Heavy contact with that outside concrete.
Part of me wondering if that, not saying anything specifically about it, but that was a hard entry he took. Is there a possibility, you think, that these guys are running on the same lap, that maybe they had an incident earlier during that first caution that would have gotten one of our drivers spiteful and trying to take each other out?
Yeah, I don't know. That was a tough call. Maybe a misjudgment. There's been a lot happening during this race so far that we really haven't been able to see much of, just because these guys have been all spread out, so hard to tell. Pit stops now. Looks like Jimmy Mullet's going to be the winner off pit road here. It's going to be Jimmy Mullis and Alex McCullum. Jake Matheson up there to 3rd. So, interesting order of events out of pit road.
And a few guys stayed out that first pit option lap. I'm not sure if they'll be coming back in, as we often see, or if they're just trying to get a lap back, which I think is a possibility here. I don't believe any of these drivers are on the lead lap, so I think Jimmy Mullis will once again take the start. He's been great on those tonight, so I like his chances.
Absolutely. So, 42 laps down in the book so far. Currently on lap 43, coming out of 44. These guys, looks like most of these guys in a pretty good state right now. Or excuse me, we're on lap 40 something. I lost track here.
It'll be 50 this time around.
50 laps this time around. Thank you very much. Again, race leader Jimmy Mullis. Shown a lot of speed. One thing I'm concerned about Alex McCullum coming off of that long run. Obviously, he was starting to hunt down that 96 Marshall. His short run game has not been that great from what I've seen so far.
No, his short run and just his starts in general, I think he's definitely better once he has a few laps to adapt, and maybe now that he's had that great run under his belt, he'll be quick on the short run. But yeah, Jimmy Mullis on the first few laps of his start, he's just been incredible, so that'll be a tough road to Tough road to go down there for McCullum, but let's see what he can do.
Should be 1 to green this time by it is. Lights on the iRacing pace car are out. So guys will stack up, double up, and get ready to go green flag racing once again.
Trying to look back, it looks like everybody came out right about the spot they were in coming into the pits here. The biggest mover I'll talk about quick, Perry Snelson has moved up 9 spots. Same with Rob Slider. Both guys with a chance to win tonight. So a few guys trying to make up for maybe lackluster qualifying efforts.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe some 2-tire stops going on. A little bit sketchy, but see how it works out for him. The field coming back to the green flag now is the 96 and Mullis back on the throttle. The 10 almost spun the tires a little bit off the restart. Didn't quite get the jump that he wanted. These guys get a single file up front.
And it looks like we're going to go clean, I think, for the second time this race through 1 and 2 there. But Mullis, another great start. He completely gapped the McCullum in the 10 there. He was able to put his nose in front, coming into 1. McCullum with a big slide out of exit there. Back to yellow.
Yeah, yellow flag is in the air. The 23 machine is around. That's Ryan Campbell. Back there, backed it into the outside wall in corner number 3. And it looks like a little bit of help back there from the 98 machine. The 98. That's going to be Adam Joslin.
Yeah, Joslin. It may have been the same thing we saw a few laps ago with that spin previous.
Oh.
It just came in too hot.
The 57 machine involved in that one as well. A little bit.
Just a quick thing to mention, Frank Morales with a beautiful dodge there. We saw, it was Campbell rolling up the track, and he just manages to avoid him. He took a little bit of wall damage, but nothing insane. So survivability, definitely a strength of Morales, it would seem.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect anybody to come down pit road this time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick side-by-side break. You won't miss any action. Stay tuned.
Click on the Options button. You will then see Input Calibration. This is where your calibration takes place. Start by clicking on the steering button. You will then be prompted to turn your wheel fully one direction and then another. Make sure you place your wheel back into its centering position before hitting done. Now, you will be asked to turn your wheel 90 degrees to the left. Make sure it's at 90 and hold it there while hitting done. For pedals, click on the pedals button. Here you'll be asked to press the throttle all the way down and then release it. You'll do the same for the brake and clutch pedal if you have one. For the gearbox, you'll first be asked to set buttons for sequential shifting. Once complete, a prompt will ask if you have a H pattern shifter. If not, hit no. If yes, click it and you'll begin to map the gears individually. Once you've completed these steps, you are calibrated and ready to go racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to USA International Speedway, Lakeland, Florida. These guys stacked up, doubled up, ready to go green flag racing once again. Marshall, take them away.
Yeah, Jimmy Mullis, I sound like a broken record, but he's taken another start here. He's been great on him all night. Let's see if he'll get that early jump like he's been getting. Pace car is going to dive off into the pits here. Jimmy Mullis, the field is in his hands. And another early restart. Gaps the 10 of McCullum, green flag.
Man, these guys really got to watch that from Jimmy. He's done it every time, and nobody's been able to pick up on it quite yet. Jimmy getting that early jump on the restart, really helping him out and get down into corner number 1. So these guys will single out for the most part. A little bit of a battle back there for around the 6th position. It's a 74 drifts up high.
We had 2 rows of two drivers stacked up. That was insane in the corner. I'm amazed we're still green.
Brandon Holder able to slip by for that position there as Paris Nelson drops back to 7th. Looks like a battle for that 9th position. Now here comes the 12 machine. 12 machine is still 1 lap down, but trying to make his way up through the field. Well, 18 laps down, as I am being corrected, for the 12 machine. Still battling it out up there.
Yeah, Devin Morgan's not giving up. He's had a few races these last few weeks with unfortunate incidents. We saw it last time at 5 flag, so he just wants positions tonight, but he's still running quick.
Tyler Justice up there. He is the first truck on a lap down, trying to maintain that position for the wave around if we get another potential yellow. So these guys kind of battling out. Look at the train up front, though, Marshall, between the top 3, even top 4 drivers up there. Bumper to bumper.
Oh, yeah, they're going for it, and I think this is the least amount of room Millis has had, so that pressure from behind him might be just what they need from McCollum, Matheson, and Audi to make some progress.
Yeah, McCollum, Mullis, McCollum, and Matheson are your top 3. Rabbiati back there in 4th, falling back a little bit since the restart of that 44, but he did have a little bit of traffic to get through. His Matheson gets really loose on exit there. He lost a little bit of ground. McCollum still right on the back bumper of the 96, trying to apply the pressure.
Yeah, and this is the closest he's been all race. He's got to go for it, but Mullis just so late into the braking zone in those corners, and it's working for him. He's got the best corner entry, corner exit on new tires of anybody in the field.
So McCollum tried to take that shallower line into the corner that last time by battle for the lead side by side between the 96 and the 10.
And finally, it looks like he's going to gap him. He's got help from behind from Jake Matheson in the 21, going to give him the push, although he's still not done. Mullis, if he gets a good corner exit, could keep his lead here.
Off of corner number 4, these guys continuing to battle it out. Matheson nowhere to go. He's trying to find the quicker line, see who's going to be the faster one to follow. But meanwhile, this is reeling Rabbiani back into this pack. These guys going to stay side by side for the lead. That second groove coming in just enough for Mullis to hang on out there.
If there's a guy you don't want in your battle, it's Rabbiati, and if he closes in here, this is going to be insane for the lead.
96 on the outside, 10 on the inside. Now the 21 again with nowhere to go. Matheson switching lanes back and forth, trying to judge which one's going to move first. He's going to try to follow the faster car through, try to gain that second position. McCullum got a little bit of loose on the low side, now going into corner number 1. Mullis is going to take advantage, but off the corner, look out. Close battling here at USA.
Mullis might get a car length here. No, Matheson's going to dive back in, but man, Matheson putting some great pushes here on both sides, but this is letting his teammate at TI Racing, Rabbiati, close in, and maybe as a team effort, these two, once they get up together, could really do some damage to those top 2.
Mullis prevails on the high side, now drops it all the way back to the bottom once again. These guys, again, single file train, top 3 all the way around this place, and Rabbiati really did not gain much ground out of that whole deal. Maybe made an adjustment that he wasn't quite happy with. As I say that, caution flag on the Speedway once again. Looks like that's going to be Dustin Slider around on the backstretch. Wow.
Yeah, sliding Slider here. He's had no data, to brag about, because he has just had incident after incident here. Not always, his fault here, but it looked like he just
all by himself. Yeah, all by himself in heavy contact with an inside wall, and Backed it right up to the outside wall. That's probably going to end his night, as I see a lot of smoke rolling heavily from that 15 machine.
Yeah, I don't foresee him coming back from that, but props to the leaders there and being able to avoid him, because he was right in front of that lead pack when he spun around.
So Jimmy Mull is going to lead these guys down pit road once again. Call, I'm sure, is going to be 4 tires and fuel. Question is, whose crew is going to get there faster? This is such a tight pit road to deal with, as USA does not typically hold big race events like this. They did in their history with the Cup Series and the what was the Busch Series at the time, and ASA, ARCA, etc. But since then, a very tight pit road, is Jimmy Mullis going to prevail out of that one once again. Again, not much change other than looks like Blake Neer gaining some spots out of pit road.
The other thing to talk about, Jake Matheson moved back a few spots. I think it's now Mullis, McCullum, and now in third, Robbie Oddie. They've switched TI Racing drivers running in third here. I think Matheson will likely run maybe in fifth. Holder also moving up. Blake Neer as well.
Yeah, Matheson in that sixth position at the moment. So Robbie Oddie fifth, Brandon Holder fourth, Blake Neer moved all the way up to third. Then McCullum in second, and Mullis still rounding up in first.
And just one thing to bring up here is Brandon Holder, now that his teammate Ryan Campbell is out of the race, or sorry, I shouldn't say out of the race, he's a lap down after that incident earlier, he really has to, if he wants to keep that lead for Glove Box Racing, he's got to race consistent, and he's had a great few laps here. In the last 2 restarts, he's gained 6 positions, so he's having a great run as of recent.
Absolutely, he is. So we're going to try this once again. We were able to get one pretty long run, and since then, these guys have not had a good of luck trying to get this race underway clean and green.
Yeah, with all these cautions, we haven't seen too many long runs as I guess until there. But one guy we talked about before, Alex McCullum, how he was having trouble on those short runs. I'd say he did pretty well in the last one. He managed to keep with Mullis. So if he's got this start figured out, you know, he may be a big threat to Mullis, especially with the room he was making up on Mullis with some help from the 21 of Jake Matheson.
Yeah, as these guys stack back up once again, that's one thing that Mullis is going to have to keep an eye on. As you know, I just talked about the starts have been in a pattern lately, pretty predictable, as they've all been early. So one thing I'd expect from that outside is to be prepared this time around, as you may have company going down into corner number 1.
Yeah, we'll see if McCullum is able to figure out his restart point here, and I can take us to the green, because I feel like we're going pretty quick. The pace car lights are out. He should dive in here. Yes, he does. Let's see if we see that early start from Mullis, his 4th restart in a row. And yes, again, Matheson, sorry, I should say McCullum a little bit quicker that time. Green flag. We're back again at USA International.
Yeah, so Mullis was able to get the jump once again, but look out, here comes the 10 on his back bumper. Not going to make the move this time, but he's going to be patient with him, waiting for that run off to try to make the move underneath. That's going to be the move to be on fresh tires.
Yeah, and Mullis doesn't have his precious gap off the start there, so with McCullum right in his bumper and the first few laps of those new tires, maybe this is the perfect time for him to make a move for the lead.
I was saying earlier that McCullum didn't have a great short run truck. He's trying to prove me wrong right now, as he's hanging right with that 96 of Jimmy Mullis up there. They got a little bit of loose off before that last time, but I lost a little bit of ground, but he's going to try to make that up now.
Yeah, everybody in that top group has some ground to make up on Mullis now. I think a battle developing there for 4th, 5th, and 6th there. I think that's Holder, likely Matheson, and
contact. Around goes the 5 of Holder. Caution flag is out.
Right as I say his name, he makes contact. That group of 3 was running pretty sketch there through that outside line. So I think he just got turned around there, I think.
Somehow, everybody was able to miss that 5 machine as he came back onto the racetrack. He missed the inside wall. Him and Jake Matheson made contact out of corner number 4 down the front stretch. Looks like they came into each other a little bit, and around went the 5. The 21 went high. When the 21 spun up high, he barely collected the 98, and stack up behind him, it looks like the 13, the 7, the 23, all were involved up at the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, and that's going to have big implications even in terms of points, because Boulder, his teammate Ryan Campbell was already out, so with that heavy damage he took there, that might end his day. And even Matheson, who he made contact with in the 21, he took a hard hit too, even after the fact, from Devin Morgan. So some of the top front runners in this race might be out.
So less than 100 laps to go now, 81 laps down. These guys not playing it as nice as I thought they would here so far tonight. It's a lot of close racing, but look for a little bit of temper flare also.
Yeah, with how many incidents we're seeing and how many of those drivers victims of the incidents still on track, we could see some bad blood come out in this race. And with how close you run in proximity, even to lap cars, that could play a big part for some of the leaders here.
Absolutely it could, so probably getting 2 to go at the line this time by. None of the leaders up towards the front pitted, which is expected. One thing that's we got to watch on this restart is Jimmy Mullis. He's gotten a good restart every time so far. Starting to fire around the same point. You can only go so early. So you got to watch these restarts. Eventually that 10 of McCollum, I think it's going to catch on to what he's trying to do.
And McCollum's getting progressively better every time we go back to green, so this might be his chance if he can really get that starting point right where the grass starts, where it comes into the asphalt on the inside there. But this may be his chance if he wants to make some room up in that short run here in that very beginning and make some moves early in the run.
Absolutely agreed. So one thing I noticed about Jimmy Mullis' truck, though, is it's been pretty well-rounded through the short runs and the long runs, so I think that's his biggest advantage right now.
Yeah, but he's got to use that to gain some track position and try to make something happen here, because positions are very tough both to keep and to catch up on, so nobody's having an easy time here tonight at USA International.
Lights should be out this time by on the iRacing pace car, as they are. Again, the 96 of Mullis is going to be leading these guys back to the green flag. The 10 to his outside, that's Alex McCollum. They'll make up your front row. So far, so good. Hopefully everybody can keep it clean and green off this next restart.
I'll just mention quick before we go back to green, only one driver in the top 5 of the race is top 5 in points, and that's Robbie Oddie. So some guys looking for their first win of the season tonight. Let's see if it can happen.
Indeed they are. Pace car going to be making its way down into pit road this time by the 96, Jimmy Mullis, waiting for the green. Off he goes. Green flag is back in the air. Really good restart that time by.
Yeah, looks like he's got a swagger back on those restarts, but McCollum, a great run on corner entry there. Not falling too far back of Mullis here. Still a decent restart for the 10 of Alex McCollum.
McCollum trying to get back to his back bumper, battle for third as they're going to be side by side. Blake Neer trying to look for position.
Yeah, but Robbie Oddie got a slot in front. A big check up there from Neer. He almost made contact. Somebody's spinning behind. Who is that?
Caution flag is in the air. Rob Slider around in that 13 machine.
And it's a real shame because the sliders have been having a rough day today, and he looked like he took another slider there, but yeah, it just up into the outside wall. It didn't look like it was provoked, but he was having such a good day, up 16 positions from qualifying.
Came off of corner number 4 here as he went down into the corner, just entered a little bit high in the back end, kicked around on him up in the loose stuff, and he just kind of locked him up as, man, the 61 machine just able to avoid up high.
Yeah, guys have been doing a great job of that tonight, is keeping their reflexes ready and for any crash that's going to happen, which we've seen plenty of. So no, not too many guys getting collected in the aftermath of incidents. So good work to those guys tonight.
So, while we have the opportunity, we're going to go once again to a quick side-by-side commercial break. Stay tuned.
We are back here at USA International for another restart here, led by Jimmy Mullis and Alex McCullum. We're going to come around here, pace car lights are off. We'll see if McCullum can keep working on his starts here tonight. He's been pretty good so far, especially recently, so haven't had a pass for a lead in a while. Tonight might be our chance. See if Mullis goes early on the starts, as he has. Yes, he does, and another good start from Mullis, but we're green flag here at Lakeland.
Green flag back in the air. The 10 machine trying to get up to the back bumper once again at the 96 off this restart as we're going to be close, but no cigar. Looks like going back to the third position. Rabiati back there in third. He doesn't seem to have quite the speed that the two leaders do up front, though.
No, and he just doesn't have experience running up there yet, especially not this race. So he's not used to Jimmy Mullis, who I don't believe he's run with too much in the last few races. And McCullum he's never run with. So, a big slide there from Audi. But once he gets up there, it'll be a challenge to try to make passes on some guys he hasn't raced against very often.
10 machine up there once again. We've seen how this played out the first time. He got a couple laps on his tires and he was able to get enough momentum to make the move. Have to keep an eye on that one. It looks like a little bit of battling going on through the pack. The 98 and the 74. It's Perry Snelson and Adam Joslin.
right on the back bumper there is Alex McCollum on Mullis, still putting the pressure on. Now he's going to dive to the bottom, comes back up. I like McCollum's strategy here. He's being aggressive when it comes to trying to worry Mullis and maybe taking a line he shouldn't be, but he is trying every single lap here. He wants that pass made right now.
He really is hungry to get this lead. Once again, Alex McCollum, that's our pole sitter for the night. Jimmy Mullis really trying to show him up, trying to show who's faster on the green flag runs. And so far, he's been able to keep that 10 machine in his rear view, but not without a challenge.
No, it's been tough for him all night. And to move back in the field a little bit to the 5th position, Brandon Holder, and fittingly the 5. He had the incident a few minutes ago, had the spin there, but no damage that I can notice, and he's still running very quick in terms of lap times with these guys at the front, so clearly that crash a few minutes ago couldn't have affected him all that much.
Absolutely he has. He's been involved in a couple of incidents tonight so far, and still that truck looking fairly clean. Again, trying to keep the nose as clean as he can. So far, so good for the 5 of Brandon Holder. Blake Neer still holding his own up front right now on that 14 machine. That's another one of those SMS trucks up towards the front. Looks like McCollum's fallen off the leader just a little bit. Mullis is able to pull away.
Yeah, those SMS trucks need to have a good night here. McCollum, as we talked about very frequently, starting to lose Mullis here, but still in the 2nd position, and Blake Neer running the 4th position. Very good night for those guys in that team.
Tyler King up there putting pressure on the 74 now at Perry Snelson. 02's looking for position just outside of the top 5. He was right on the back bumper of that 74. The 74 drifts up high just a little bit. Here comes the 02 trying to look underneath. Not quite going to get there, maybe.
Very close, almost at the edge of the grass.
Trying to use every inch of this speedway. Some of these guys are. Again, the 02 is going to try to gain that momentum back. One thing about this place, Marshall, is that it is fairly tough to pass unless the guy in front of you makes a mistake.
Yeah, indeed it is, Brandon, and it's very difficult to try to get that line set up. It's very easy once you have maybe that inside lane or you have a chance to go there, but you very rarely come close enough in these straightaways to, warrant the chance to go to the inside there. But yeah, as we've seen tonight, plenty of guys spinning with little to no help, so just wait for the guy in front of you to spin might be the strategy here at this point in the race.
So all of these guys fairly spread out now. Looks like Jake Matson underneath the 02 now looking to gain his track position back. And he got an EOL earlier for cause of caution with the 5 of Holder. He's trying to battle his way back side by side with the 02.
Great battle going on back there. These guys need to get to the head of that back pack because Holder, who's I think the rear of that front group, has about a 2.5 second lead there in that group. So whoever can get to the front there and start to make progress is going to gain some points in this race. Oh, they make contact.
Contacts! Oh man, Perry Snelson felt the contact on that one as he went way up the racetrack to try to save that machine, as he does. Now Snelson gonna go around.
Nice save.
Manages to save it. I don't know how he was able to wheel that race truck around like that.
Right as I talk about that pack forming up in the 6th to 9th position, it falls apart and everybody splits up again.
And so Jake Matson up just outside of the top 5 right now in that 5th position. And next up for him to pass is Brandon Holder. Again, those two got into it just a couple of cautions ago, which is why both of those guys are coming from further back.
And Matheson was looking very effective up in that lead group, running with Mullis and McCollum, so if he can get back up there, I think he could be a threat to the win tonight for TI Racing.
Absolutely, I believe he could also. Speaking of those guys up front, just to check in, Jimmy Mullis has not been able to pull away any more than what he has. As a matter of fact, McCollum's starting to reel him back in.
Yeah, he's been great, as we've mentioned a lot of these are long runs, and even though the short run was getting better, it looked like Mullis may have had him this time, but yeah, those long runs with Mullis's tires getting worse, maybe he makes a mistake and McCollum becomes our first leader that other than Mullis in maybe 60 laps.
McCollum's truck seems to go through a short period of time where it's really good on the short run, falls off for about 2 or 3 laps, and then kind of lights it back up again for the longer run as we're already a few laps into this thing.
Yeah, this may be his chance to shine if he can get out of that kind of even period with Mullis and start to make up some progress again. And he's been great trying to set up for moves. It's just the execution with Mullis's line that's been very tough tonight.
Yeah, and it's tough being trapped on the bottom here also. You've got very little room to spare. The second groove is literally right on your door, so any movement you're making contact with the outside and spinning you both around.
Yeah, I think... Oh, we see a
big slide.
I manages to save it again. Guys have been great at that tonight, but talking about that dynamic of running on the bottom and drifting up into the outside lane, any race I've run here at USA International, the guy who is running in the lead with 5 to go almost never wins it in a group situation. So being that guy on the bottom, if you're willing to get aggressive and start making some bumps with the guy on the top, it's a very effective line. But here at lap 113, I don't think that's the strategy McCollum is going for, at least not in terms of being that aggressive to Mullis.
Definitely not being aggressive. He's had a lot of patience with Mullis so far, especially on these shorter runs. So we're getting to a point now where the field is spread out. Everybody's kind of on that long run vibe, and it's maybe looking good for that 10 crew.
Yeah, it's looking very good for him tonight, and especially because, you know, I'm not sure if he's one up or what, but I currently do not have him on the sheet here, so that progress.
Looks like we got a battle for 4th going on back there. Those guys are going to be side by side. That's Brandon Holder with Blake Neer. 14 on the high side, 5 on the bottom. There's contact. The 14 goes around. He saves it. How did he save that truck?
How are guys saving it tonight here? Every time I think we're about to see a caution, we somehow don't.
Blake Neer, I'm sure, is not happy with that, but he manages to collect a little bit of damage to the driver's side door. Brandon Holder able to continue. I would not want to be around that 14 again this race if I was the 5 of Holder.
No, he is going to be very mad, but Holder, thanks to that incident, has got about a lap, or sorry, should I say a second lead there on Neer in the 14. So if Neer can't catch him, it might not matter, but Holder making some great progress there, trying to move to the front.
As he is up to that 4th position is that 5 of Brandon Holder, so making his way back up through the field. That puts Blake Neer back to the 5th position, who Blake Neer's also showing some pretty good speed, but not too far back behind him. We see that 21 of Matheson.
Yeah, and Matheson hungry to get back up to the front again. He's been very quick all night, but he's got some damage, so if he is able to get up there, it'll be interesting to see if that affects him.
Battle up front once again, and the 10 takes a look to the inside. Couldn't quite get there. He's right on the back bumper of Mullis. Trying to diamond the corner off that time. Gets the run. They both get sideways off of corner number 2 now. Going down into corner number 3. Again, taking that little bit of a higher entry, trying to get the run off is the 10. Mullis a little bit of slideways down off of 4, right onto the back bumper.
Yeah, he's starting to give some pushes there to Mullis. He's getting, you know, angstier and angstier every lap here, trying to make a move up there. But he started kind of an over-under line going. He's getting really high compared to Mullis. And on exit there, he's just getting his nose under a little bit, maybe trying to give him a bit of a tap to block Mullis' speed down the straightaway.
Coming up to some heavy lap traffic now also. Will this play an effect to the battle for the lead? The 12 quickly moves out of the way. Now they have their eyes set up ahead. The 0-2 quickly moving out of the way now.
Yeah, guys being very good tonight about moving out of the way for this lead group, and it's easy to tell who are the leaders because they've kind of been on the lead all night here.
Yes, they have. The 4 moves up out of the way for these guys. The 10 is asking for something to happen here with one of these lap cars, asking for them to hold up Mullis just enough to where he can slide underneath and maybe try to use one of these guys as a pick. It's not done yet. They got more in front of them from here.
Yeah, Rob Slider, the next guy they got to pass, and he's had some heavy damage tonight, so if he is unable to move out of the way here, we could see that pick that McCollum really needs.
McCollum trying to hang on again, trying to diamond the corner, get that run off. He grips the yellow line between the transition from the track to the apron there, really gets him to rotate on exit. That's exactly what he needs for that truck. Little bit sideways off of corner number 4. He keeps the wheel steady, doesn't lose any ground to Mullis that time by. Battle for the lead is hot. Almost had enough speed to look underneath. He may have a nose on him going into 1. Cannot quite get there. Mullis too strong on corner entry.
Yeah, Mullis is just putting his truck in the perfect spot here to block McCollum. And here we come up to another lap traffic car. That's Rob Slider. So let's see if he's able to get out of the way here for Mullis.
That he does, and now McCollum's going to try to take advantage. Mullis is not catching him at a good spot, trying to look underneath now. Now he definitely has the nose going down into corner number 3. Rob Slider's going to be slideways in front of the leaders. Three wide with the lap car. Now a little bit of contact with the lead. Slider gets out of the way. Going down into corner number 1. The 96 and the 10 side by side.
Yeah, Slider came so close to that back quarter panel of Mullis. I'm amazed he stayed around, but McCollum leads, the first driver besides Mullis in maybe 80 laps.
Down off of corner number 4 now. McCollum's hungry for this lead. Mullis is struggling to hang on the outside. Again, a strong corner entry for that 96, but stronger corner exit for the 10. Back at his door now is Mullis trying to hang on to that lead. The 10 got it last time by. Mullis is trying to hang on. Down off of corner number 4, not quite clear. Sideways got the 10.
Yeah, the 10 not used to running up here right door to door with Mullis, so let's see if he can keep it up here, but he's doing great so far in terms of pressuring Mullis into that outside wall.
Corner number 3 now down out of corner number 4. Oh, almost got clear was McCollum, but again sideways off the bottom of the track, down off of 4. That seems to be his weak point there. Around this place is on corner exit. Being on that bottom, it's so tough. You don't have nearly as much room to play with. This line is, the racing line is so tight. Mullis trying to hang on the outside as he does. Maybe a little bit of contact with the wall that time. Doesn't affect him much at all. The 10 drifts up just a little bit. Now a lap car may be able to use him as a pick. As Mullis gets held up, that's going to allow the 10 to clear.
And a single file line for the lead. There we go. McCollum makes the pass.
Now it's up to Mullis to try to get back up to him here. More lap traffic coming up. That's may be able to help the 96 of Mullis out just as it did the 10 of McCollum. McCollum was able to use one of those guys as a pick on corner entry and worked out in his favor totally that last time.
Yeah, like we were talking about, just too many cars for Mullis to get by, scot-free. And the second McCollum saw his chance, he went for it. He kind of squeezed him up into a lap car, and after a bunch of laps side by side, he gets the move thanks to Frank Morales, and maybe starting to get a bit of a lead here on Mullis.
So far, we know McCollum has the better long-run truck, and it's really showing now. Mullis maybe trying to cool his stuff down just a little bit before he tries to go back at it. I think he's expecting a little bit of help from these lap trucks up ahead. The 23 goes up and out of the way. A couple of lap trucks racing in front of them, though. Yeah. Oh, slideways was the 10. We got a little bit of the wall there down the front stretch.
Yeah, I was just about to say, too, like, these tires have run very long. 64 laps for both of our leaders here, so they're starting to slide, but this seems to be where McCollum's in his element here, so starting to break away from Mullis, and maybe that's why.
I'll tell you, laps really starting to wind down now. Also is currently on lap 137 out of lap 175. That's the key point. Lap 175 starting to get down to the end of this thing.
Yeah, I'm questioning whether or not we'll need another pit stop, at least for fuel. So if we happen to see another caution perhaps, or even if we go to the pits, that may be what Mullis needs, because he's been very quick in both those disciplines tonight.
That's the only thing I'd be worried about at this point is possible fuel. I think these guys They're going to be pushing it. I think they may be okay. But of course, I'm no expert when it comes to that stuff. Let's do a little bit of a through the field. Right now, Alex McCullum up front in that 10 machine. Jimmy Mullis second, third Robbie Oddie, fourth Brandon Holder, Jake Matheson in fifth. Blake Neer holding strong in that sixth position. Seventh is Ryan Campbell. Rob Slider is in eighth. Tyler King ninth, and Perry Snelson so far in 10th.
Yeah, Mark Love running in 11th. James Milbachler, 5 laps down. Charles Lyer, 8 laps down in 13th. Frank Morales, 14 laps down in 14th, fittingly. Tyler Justice, out of the race, 19 laps down in 15th. Devin Morgan had a very tough afternoon, 19 laps down in 16th. Adam Jocelyn in 17th, 21 laps down. Dustin Slider out of the race in 18th. Doug Lemons out of the race in 19th. Ryan Blanchard out of the race in 20th. John Houston out of the race in 21st. And Doc Stout out of the race in 22nd.
So that is your PTR TV full field rundown. Here, kind of a break in the action here. Everybody pretty spread out. As you see, something odd to see for me on the iRacing service even still is these clouds covering the racetrack every once in a while, kind of hiding that sun just enough. It's, I don't know, pretty cool. Everything that iRacing is doing with this service is now you see the sun peeking its head back out here from behind the clouds.
Yeah, and for these longer series, every time iRacing adds in a little detail, it could make a big difference here, because week to week you never know what to expect, and we've already seen these guys having to adapt here, and maybe a change in condition, maybe some cloud cover, change the track surface up. Maybe that's just what Mullis needs to make up some ground on McCollum.
Absolutely. He didn't get much of it as the sun already trying to make its way back out, but yeah, Alex McCullum so far showing dominance on this long run. So far, lap 145 of 175 out here. I think that was the key thing that he needed, was a long run, Marshall.
Yeah, and now that he's finally got it, he's making up about 2/10 a lap here on Mullis, just starting to pull away. So if Mullis doesn't change something soon, or if he doesn't get the race to go his way, this thing might be all but over.
Someone that we really hadn't focused on too much is he hasn't quite had the speed as your top two runners. The 44 Robbie Oddie back there in the third position, still showing some really, really fast lap times, but just not quite able to hold up with Jimmy Mullis and Alex McCollum.
No, McCollum and Mullis are kind of in a field of their own here, and Audie's been incredibly quick at the short tracks recently, so I thought he would have a great night here, and he very much is. Third place, nothing to scoff at, but yeah, just 2/10 a lap slower consistently than those top two, so if he needs to get up there, same thing as Mullis, he'll need some sort of drastic change.
One thing also is we race on these older tires that I wouldn't count out is the possibility of a yellow flag. We've seen how sketchy some of these guys have been getting here with the sliding all around on exit and entry. The hardest one to save is if the back end kicks out on you on corner entry, you're pretty much done at that point. But I do see some guys coming back out from some green flag stops, so I'm wondering if it's a possibility for your leaders.
Yeah, I think they likely will within the next few laps, if they have to at all, just for the sake of tires, because those are going to play a big role. So if you know you have to pit, take 4 tires now, have them reared up and ready to go, and maybe new tires will be another thing that Mullis could use to catch up to the 10 car.
Yeah, so again, one thing I failed to do my research on with these newer engine packages with the trucks was the fuel load and just how much you could get on a tank of fuel. So again, these guys running spec engines in these trucks, crate engines, a lot lower RPM down the straight. So I don't know exactly how much fuel they can get in a run or how many laps they can get out of a tank in a run. So it'll be really interesting to find out if these guys are going to have to pit or not.
And most of the guys having to pit looked like they were sitting at about 80 laps in terms of their most recent pit stop. So that's the exact same time here as McCollum and Mullis. So if those previous other cars, had to pit there on green, maybe they will within the next few laps as well.
Will be interesting for sure, as we kind of almost ran into a situation like this at 5 Flags with our longer green flag run. There is this pit road is not really designed for green flag entry. I mean, it's a short track. It was a lot of local racing, so this would be very interesting if these guys had to try to get in under green.
Yeah, definitely, Brandon. That's a really tight entry you got to make to get down on the apron there and then into the pit entrance and on bad tires. I know it may sound like a very small thing in the grand scheme of things, but I can speak from experience. It's very tough to make that jump down there under the low side on bad tires. So that could be something to watch out for here.
Yeah, the biggest thing to watch out for would be that transition from the racetrack to the apron, either the back end sliding out on you or the front end trying to push up and to the wall, maybe missing the pit entrance, or even worse, hitting that wall that juts out right there. It's not what you'd want to end a dominating race.
No, that wall is definitely a race ender. So not only are you losing maybe 1 or 2 positions because of a crash, but you might be out of the entire race, and plenty of guys still running on the track a few laps down, so that'd be very costly if you happen to hit that wall.
Well, lap 157 of 175 now. Getting near the end of this thing where I'm kind of thinking that these guys are going to try to stretch it. Again, I don't know what their fuel situation is like, but I know that they've turned quite a bit of laps so far, and these engines aren't exactly fuel efficient.
No, they're not, especially in the trucks. And yeah, I think speaking to trying to make this race last in terms of fuel, if you were ever going to pit for fuel and you're going to cut it close, just commit, pit now, and I would put money on the fact we will need to see green flag pit stops. And if you think you might have to at all, go for the new tires and try to run quick laps, because quick tires as opposed to the older ones might be enough to even make up for a pit stop here at USA International.
Another thing to point out is that we see Blake Neer about to go a lap down. He's in the 6th position right now. It's going to be the top 5 on the lead lap, and that's it. As now it is the top 5 on the lead lap, and that is it. Everybody else is at least 1 lap down, so you got 3 trucks 1 lap down, and from there on, starting at Tyler King, they're all 2 laps down. So purely dominating fashion by your top 2, and now dominating fashion by Alex McCullum, your leader, putting almost the whole field 1 lap down.
Even Jake Matheson in the 21 truck there, he's running 17 laps behind the leader at a track this short. His spot might be in jeopardy too, even with only 15 laps to go in the race. So to see only 4 guys finish on the lead lap, that's something to write home about.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And, as this race winds down, that should be a proof of the pure speed that those 2 guys up front had, even while battling side by side, were able to pull away from Rabbiati.
Yeah, their speed has been incredible this race, and let's talk about that battle for 3rd. We haven't talked about that last podium spot. Audie's been pretty safe, but Brandon Holder, who's had a very interesting day here, a lot of incidents there in that 5 truck, he's making progress and looks to the inside a little bit there. Maybe we'll see a pass in these next few laps.
Yeah, Rabbiati's tires look like they're starting to go pretty hard now. Is Brandon Holder going to try to diamond in the corner? He drifted up real high there, and it looks like the front end's starting to push on these guys. Now he's going to look underneath. He's going to try to hit that low line right up to the back bump of the 44 is Brandon Holder.
And Brandon Holder in the 5's tires are 16 laps newer than Audie's, and here at USA International that plays a big role. He looks under again, almost makes contact with the corner panel there. I talked about that earlier. That could be another race ender.
Absolutely it could. Coming up. Again, remember, there's no green-white checkers, so if the caution were to come out now, that's going to be the end of it, or with 5 to go rather, 175 laps. So if a caution were to come out within 5 to go, that's going to be the end of the race, Marshall. No green-white checkers in this league.
No, and I think in a lot of situations that battle for the lead would become even more important, but unless it comes down to fuel, I think McCullum's happy where he is. In a few laps, if you get really desperate, Holder may be okay taking that bump there, because the race is over. You don't have to defend your third place spot if he gains it anymore. So Holder definitely has reason to start going here. Dives to the bottom again. He keeps making contact a little bit on the corner of Audi, maybe trying to push him up the track and get aggressive.
Both of these guys look like they're really struggling with the handling of their race trucks. As Holder trying to follow the tracks of that 44 now, going to dive it down, dive into the corner as Slideways off the corner was the 5.
Yeah, great exit for Audio. The Holder tried it again. He doesn't even have to be close to him at this point. He's still going to try to dive to that low line.
Brandon Holder trying to gain position. Again, this is one of the closest battles on track right now. Is even Jake Mattson may end up going a lap down here, so he's starting to fall into the clutches of the leaders. But 5 of Brandon Holder trying to hold in decent points for Glovebox Racing. Again, he is your current points leader coming into tonight, so trying to hold that standing, just 4 points separating him in second.
Yeah, Holder, a very fitting name, because he's doing nothing but hold on to that top spot, and he's doing it through consistency alone. He hasn't won a race yet this season. He's just finished great everywhere, and a 4th place position here at USA, that's still very solid to keep that cabin consistency moniker alive.
Absolutely it is, and kind of taking a look at the points real quick once again as we see this battle still kind of continue. Brandon Holder is your current point leader, but if you look at second, Robbie Audi is your second place holder with TI Racing. So these guys, kind of battling it out as Holder gets by Audi that time by, so mark that as an extra point in the books.
Yeah, right as you said his name, Audi took a big slide on exit. I don't think he tapped the wall there, but he got a big slide there. No provoking from Holder. Holder did what he was supposed to do, pressured him. Audi made a mistake, and now Holder's in the top 3.
So 2.5 laps to go for your leader, Alex McCollum, is, again, pure domination here in the long run. Jimmy Mullis led majority of the laps tonight, but when it came down to having no cautions, Alex McCollum showed him who's boss, and just 2 laps to go now.
Yeah, I thought for the longest time Mullis was going to dominate this race, and he was going to be the one to beat, but now that we see McCollum on this run, running 2 to 3 to even 4 tenths quicker per lap than Mullis, he's having a great race on these old tires.
1 lap to go for your leader, Alex McCollum. He battled all night with Jimmy Mullis up front, who was your pole sitter coming into tonight. The 96 managed to pass him with the shorter runs, and now we got a longer run. He's going to get it done tonight. Alex McCollum wins at Lakeland.
What a run. That was a great race there. Dealt with adversity, and Alex McCollum is your winner.
Jimmy Mullis is crossing the line in second. Brandon Holder just now crossing the line in third. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your top 3 of the night. We'd like to give our congratulations to your race winner, Alex McCollum. As we're going to go away for a quick break, try to grab these guys for an interview. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with a post-race show.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back, race fans, to PTR TV with the post-race show. Going to be coming at you with the interviews as I've caught up with our third place finisher, Brandon Holder. Brandon, you come home in third place. You come home with a podium finish. How do you feel after tonight's run?
We got a good finish out of it. I hate that I got into Blake Neer and took him out. Just misjudged it and overtook the turn. I hate that for him.
Tell us, it seemed to be happening a lot as the tire started to wear. Tell us a little bit about that tire wear and how was handling on these race trucks?
Oh, our truck was pretty good. The longer it ran, it seemed to get faster, so I was real happy with the setup. Awesome to hear. As we saw you get into a couple of incidents tonight. One of them was with the 14 of Blake Neer. I think there was one other one also. Tell us a little bit how you rebounded from those incidents. Well, I haven't seen the one with the 21. I don't know what happened there. The 14, I just overcooked it and took him out. That's all there is to it. There's no excuse for that. But I'm not sure what happened with the other one. I haven't seen it yet.
How did it feel being able to kind of drive back through the fields and get your way back up to a third place finish?
We've got good set builders. We got good sets. If we can keep our nose clean, we can run up front pretty much every week, I think.
Awesome job tonight, Brandon. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank and a shout out to?
Yeah, I got to thank Brent Youth and for putting the team together. Ryan Campbell, Charles Lar, Jimmy Babb, Doc Stout, Paris Nelson, everybody that has a hand on this thing. Brad Neer. I appreciate everything, all the work that goes into it. It's fun to run.
Awesome job tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Holder still should be your current points leader after tonight. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
And I do believe Marshall has caught up with second place finisher Jimmy Mullis.
Hey, Jimmy, you got me?
Hey, what's up?
Well, first of all, you may not be in victory lane tonight, but you had a very dominant performance this evening and great race overall, led the most laps, and I think the spot you were most dominant on was those starts, those restarts, and really the first few laps of any run. What do you think about your run specifically was made you so good on those first few laps?
Yeah, overall it was a pretty good night. Just on the short run, I was really quick just because of the gear I was running. I wasn't getting anywhere close to the chip like Alex was, and on the long run that really hurt me. It got really, really tight, and Alex was just really, really fast. And but yeah, truck was solid. It's nice to finally have a decent run, or I should say a really good run in this league since Daytona. I haven't had the best luck, so nice to come away here with P2.
Yeah, your luck definitely turned around tonight. Very solid performance, and you kind of alluded to it there a little bit, but how big of a part did those tires play? Because you were running very long runs here, and did you feel very different about your tires and the slickness of the track from the beginning of a run to maybe lap 90?
For me personally, with the way that the truck was set up, I would just start sliding way up the track if I, try to drive it in like I was earlier in the run, just from the tires wearing and the way it was set in the nose, I guess. And like I said, I was just way too tight to really do much, but salvaged what I could.
Yeah, you definitely did salvage. Very solid position tonight, and for that second place position, anybody you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Yeah, thank the guys at Modes Auto Exchange for supporting me and our team, and thanks to my other teammates there for the help. We started on this set maybe 30 minutes before the race started because we all got on here late. So very, very solid with what we had. Shout out to Sim Seats, my teammates at Lockdown Racing, Richmond Raceway for all they do for me, and Patriot Marketing, and you guys for doing the broadcast. Always appreciated.
Thanks, Jimmy. And again, great race tonight, and maybe we'll be talking to you next week.
Thank you.
Yep, see ya.
I caught up with our race winner down here in Victory Lane. He's out of the race car now, Alex McCollum. Alex, you come home with a race win. How you feeling, man?
Pretty good.
Tell us a little bit about that race. You were hanging with Jimmy pretty much all night. He got around you on the initial starts. We had that lap 1 incident, and you were trying to get around him pretty much that whole race, and you get the longer run. Tell us a little bit about your race.
It went pretty good. I changed the gear before the race, knowing that I think we would get green flag runs, which really helped on the long run. I ran behind Jimmy for a while. Car felt pretty good. Gear helped a lot.
Well, it definitely did, and he was saying that also, that you guys were running a little bit of different gear, definitely helped you on the long run. Tell us, as these tires started to wear down, how it really affected the handling of these race trucks.
With the gear I ran, the truck got better the longer I ran because of how much more momentum I can run through the turn. But with Jimmy's gear, he would have to check up the turn and then hit the brake and rotate the center, which I was able to center roll off.
Well, it really, really helped you here tonight. Alex, you had an awesome run tonight. Tell us, is there anyone that you'd like to thank, a shout out to?
I gotta thank SMS Sim Marketing Solutions, Todd Kirkwood for bringing me on board, Blake Neer for the help, and everyone that helped tonight. And thanks for you guys broadcasting.
Awesome job tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, he's your winner of the night here at Lakeland. So, another broadcast in the books tonight, ladies and gentlemen. First, we got to give your final results here for the night. Finishing in first, it's going to be the 10, Alex McCollum. Jimmy Mullis finishing in second, Brandon Holder. Third, fourth, Robbie Yanni. Jake Matheson in fifth, Blake Neer in sixth. Finishing seventh was Ryan Campbell, and Rob Slider finishing eighth.
Yeah, in 9th place, Tyler King. Perry Snelson in the 10th position. Mark Love in 11th. James Milbachler in 12th. Charles Lauer in 13th. Frank Morales in 14th. Devin Morgan, a rough afternoon today, in 15th. Power Justice, your race 1 winner, in 16th.
Finishing in 17th was Adam Joslin. Dustin Slider, another tough race for him, finishing 18th. 19th was Doug Lemons. Grant Brown finishing 20th. 21st was Ryan Blankard. Doc Stout in 22nd. And rounding out the field in 23rd was John Houston. Got to give a shout out to our race partners, longtime partner with us, Arab Movement and Fabrications, based out of the UK. They're the ventilation service of trust. ArabMoveFabs.co.uk. Also, Fame Motorsports, my company that I've been trying to build for quite a while now. Anything from marketing to stickers to shirts to wraps to social media management and pretty much anything involving motorsports. It's famemotorsports.com. famemotorsports.com. And iRacing, the original esports racing game from real world sanctions such as NASCAR, IndyCar, Dirt Car, World of Outlaws, and much more. These real world sanctions trust iRacing. You should too. iRacing.com, the original esports racing game. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another broadcast in the books for us. I'm Brandon Krutz, Marshall Crocker joining me in the booth tonight, and Corey Silva behind the cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you tune in next time with us. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, everybody.